think we have imaginations that can create environments that are not real. For example, if you're the kid in school that's bullied, right? And you remember that all the guys got together and talked about you, and you were 5 years old and they were making fun of you. Just, for example, as an adult now, you can create the story that people in the other office are all talking about you, and it can become so real to you, and it will create a trigger.
Even if they're not.
But
in your head, if you keep saying that.
Yes, because you remember that people made fun of you, and you haven't healed that false belief, right?
Right.
So that's just a fake story in your head, but what you're feeling from it is real.
Right.
Because that energy is real and it's moving through you and it's giving you a little bit of a stomach ache, or and I'm just making a random example. We all have triggers from our childhood that create different emotions in our lives now, and the smallest trigger to you could be huge to me.
My name is John Levine, and I'm a certified health coach determined to help people reclaim health and happiness. My approach to health is compassion and looking at the whole person and understanding each person's unique set of health issues. I can and will help you reverse the chronic health issues you're dealing with. I hope you enjoy my show, The Whole Truth Podcast. Thank you for the support, and God bless you, my friends.
Welcome, everyone, to The Whole Truth Podcast with John Levine, powered by Shackley, creating healthier lives, natural, safe, and 100% guaranteed, and by Dean's Natural Food Markets with 5 locations in Ocean, Shrewsbury, Basking Ridge, Chester, and Metuchen. My guest, Karina Virginia, is the talent in the highly acclaimed yoga video, The Power of Kundalini Yoga, and the author of Essential Kundalini Yoga. She is a member of Oprah Winfrey's Belief Team, and she's a pioneer in the Me Too movement. And she's here to remind you what your heart already knows. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, Karina?
So nice to be here.
Nice to have you here. Good to see you again, by the way.
Yes, you too.
I know it's been like 3 years, but welcome back.
Thank you.
So what does my heart already know?
Your heart knows that you have 2 choices with everything in life, to choose love or fear.
Choose love or fear.
Yep. And that means that everything in life is either in the vibration of fear, which has emotions such as jealousy, anger, shame, guilt, or love, which is acceptance and peace. And whenever we make the choice to step out of our fear and live in love, we raise our frequency and we open ourselves to the abundance of the miracle of the universe, which is the miracle realm. So a lot of the work that I do is extremely spiritual, as you can see, and this kind of goes over some people's heads, especially if they're a little bit more into science. But I've also been researching a lot of how science works with this too, and that's what I really love, to be able to bring in the scientific aspects of how this is actually being tested. A Course in Miracles says, a miracle is simply a shift in perspective from fear to love. And it doesn't mean that we bypass things, and it doesn't mean that we just choose to be love to everybody and that we just allow people to, dump on us. It's actually the opposite, because we learn how to love ourselves so much that we set an energetic boundary against that as well.
So that's what we're going to talk about.
Okay.
Emotional healing.
Yeah, I love it. We weren't sure what we were going to talk about. We had so many ideas, but I love this. Just being organic.
Yes, we talked on the phone and we had a lot of ideas. Emotional healing, sound energy, ancestral trauma.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to do with emotional healing.
Yes.
So,
especially nowadays.
Yeah, you think it's worse these days?
I do, because I think the polarization is more intense than ever, and so we're feeling very triggered and very hurt by people that we thought we trusted. There's a lot of disappointment taking place, a lot of triggers, and what I always like to say is these triggers are not happening to us, they're happening for us, because we are all being forced to grow right now. So this emotional healing is something that based on the spiritual realm, is truly happening for a reason, for this revolution, this evolution, this new time in the world, which is truly about miracles, really. But it feels really hard for most people. This is not an easy time.
There's a lot of noise out there.
Exactly.
There's a lot of noise, technology, and you know what? It is a miracle because I get to be on here. This is going to sound cheesy. We got to get to be on here and put out this great information. Seriously, I get to actually have a platform to put out this incredible information, which is real information, and inspire people.
Yeah, but why is that cheesy? That's awesome.
No, this is what's cheesy. So if I am feeling this, because I feel like I have too much estrogen in my body sometimes. So this is what's cheesy. If I am...
I love it. I didn't even know we were going to be talking about this. You had that set up already.
I can't do that.
I love
I like my 80s music.
I love that.
So I thought about it. I'm like, how do you make this fun? But you know what's funny? Whitney Houston says it perfectly. It's shocking what love can do.
Yes.
So I know you can speak to that.
Yes.
So now we got a little Whitney. Yeah, Chris is laughing his ass. He thinks I'm a cheese ball, and I probably am a cheese ball. But that makes sense because that is, I get so emotional, baby. It's shocking what love can do. So what can love do?
Everything.
Is it about love?
Is
that the solution?
It's all about living in the frequency of love and making that choice.
Christian, throw me a pencil, brother, please.
Pencil or pen?
Pencil's good. Speaking of real,
We're
I normally
telling
have my
Christian
pencil.
about Mercury retrograde. His whole computer's going to explode. Any second.
Don't hit me between the eyes.
Right, be careful.
I need to write down for my brain. When I write, it just sinks in. So I forgot my pen and my pencil this morning. Thank you. So it's shocking what love can do. Seriously, it is shocking what love can do. When you have love, it just sends you in the right direction, and it's the fear that just plummets you. So what do I do?
Okay, first of all, we're all longing so much for connection and love. And in this world right now, we're feeling more separate because we don't have the tribes and the community that our ancestors had, right?
Yeah.
So there's so much technology, and there's also, like I was saying before, such polarization, such different views on things with people that we love. You know, there's families that are feeling this separation right now. We always have the choice to say, I can choose love instead of this discomfort. I can choose love instead of this discomfort. It doesn't mean that it's easy to do because emotions are energy moving. Emotions are the movement of the energy through our body, right?
Yes.
So emotions are very real, whereas thoughts are more based on old stories and based on illusions. So we can think, we have imaginations that can create environments that are not real. For example, if you're the kid in school that's bullied, right? And you remember that all the guys got together and talked about you, and you were 5 years old and they were making fun of you. Just, for example, as an adult now, you can create the story that people in the other office are all talking about you, and it can become so real to you, and it will create a trigger.
Even if they're not.
Even if they're not.
But in your head, if you keep saying that.
Yes, because you remember that people made fun of you, and you haven't healed that false belief, right?
Right.
So that's just a fake story in your head, but what you're feeling from it is real.
Right.
Because that energy is real and it's moving through you and it's giving you a little bit of a stomach ache or, and I'm just making a random example. We all have triggers from our childhood that create different emotions in our lives now. And the smallest trigger to you could be huge to me, where I might just have, this unbelievable reaction to something and you're like, what's going on? Calm down. But it had to do with something that happened to me when I was young. So everything that we're going through right now connects to something else. And that's why these triggers are happening for us, because we're being forced to grow at this time in the world. But choosing love means that I'm going to choose how I can shift my thoughts and recognize that they're not really talking about me. I'm just imagining that because when I was younger, they did, but that's not real. And when we change the way we think,
But what if they really are talking about you?
that's another story. Okay, so let's talk about that. What if they really are talking about you, right?
Yeah.
Then you want to go there and you want to bang. No, I'm just kidding. No, if they really are talking about you, then you make a choice to say they're in fear. Because if they're choosing to live their lives in fear, because for a bunch of adult guys to be talking about me right now shows that they don't really understand that there's a way to choose to see things as everything happening for a reason and everything being there for a purpose. And I'm just going to say, all right, you know what? That's their business. I'm not going to take it personally. They obviously are triggered by something. And then you have to work through that too. Because they could be. But most of the time when it's a real trigger, either it's an illusion in our mind or, there are big things that happen, right? There are people who are married with major disappointments in their relationship. There are people who have a job that they've worked really hard for who all of a sudden are fired. There's a lot of this other stuff that goes on. There's,
Sure.
So when those things really happen, there's an obstacle. But what that obstacle is always an opportunity. What that mountain is always the possibility of a miracle. And that's where you change your mind into, okay, so this is really happening. This is not in my imagination. And I'm feeling these emotions from this. And this is really difficult, but I am now given an opportunity to heal so much. And it's hard, and it's awful, and it's painful, and I've got to feel this pain to move through it. But always, when we start to see that everything happens for us, we start to see that even the most difficult things are actually opportunities for us to grow, and they're opportunities for our children, they're opportunities for our grandchildren, because epigenetics, can I talk about epigenetics for 1 second?
No. Because you're losing me already. No, just kidding. That's a joke. Yes, you can.
Okay.
Epigenetics.
Okay.
You're on a roll, so I can't stop you now. Go.
Okay. So epigenetics is showing that and so doctors are listening to this. We know this. They're finding the emotions that are actually in our cells, that we've inherited emotions in our cells.
Is that what that is? Epigenetics?
Yes.
They're finding the emotions in our cells?
Well, there's a lot to epigenetics, but
Right.
one of the parts that I want to bring up is, because we're talking about emotions, is that it could be a great grandparent that
Right.
we don't even know what happened to them. So it's an
Oh.
unknown scenario, but we carry that imprint in our cells.
Okay. Yes.
So just an example to put it into very
Like World War II,
if we had grandparents during World War that lived in World War II or really struggled during World War II, there can be trauma in our cells even if we were adopted and we didn't know about it.
are they actually finding that?
Yes.
That's
They
pretty
did a study
unbelievable.
with mice, and they exposed the mice to cherry blossoms, and then they shocked the mice. And
Like electrical
yeah,
shocks?
so first the mice are like, "Ooh, yay, woo!" And then they shock the mice, so the mice obviously are saying, "I'm not going to the cherry blossoms."
That's not very nice.
I know.
That's
I
not
know.
very nice.
I don't
That's
like
not-
this. I know. I don't like. When
I'm
they do this
feeling
with
a
animals
little
either.
emotional
I
again.
know.
I'm getting a little depressed. I'm a little depressed. I'm an animal lover.
know.
Don't do that to the mice.
But
You got to test it out somehow, right?
I know.
Yeah, I don't know what you do about that.
Yeah, no,
But it's a good thing you're here because I'm getting a little sad.
Oh.
Yeah, I need
well,
love.
that's.
I need cherry blossom. No, actually, no, I
No,
can't
you
think
don't want cherry
You
blossoms.
just ruined cherry
You just-
blossoms. You just ruined it. I'll never be able to have them ever again.
But it is terrible. I took psychology classes. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I've done all dissecting frogs and
Yeah.
all those
Oh.
things that we used to do with our mice. I had a pet mouse for a while, so I know. But anyway, what they found
Yeah.
with the mice is that the offspring of the mice, when they were exposed to cherry blossoms, were already afraid of them.
So initially, the cherry blossoms were there. Everything's great. They shocked the mice, and
Yes.
then when those mice
Had offspring,
had offspring,
and then that offspring
And-
had offspring.
you're kidding me.
They show, and all mice, they show, it's like something that we automatically would think is so beautiful, right? If something happened to our ancestors, that beauty, what they're finding scientifically now is that
unbelievable.
yes. So that's what
Wow.
that's how emotions can operate with us, and that's why sometimes we can be working through something and go to read every book, go to the therapist, talk to our friends, and we're saying, why do I still have this habit? Why am I still doing this?
Right.
Why am I still feeling this way?
Huh.
And that's where energy healing comes in. And energy healing can help us to shift out of fear into love.
That's pretty remarkable. I believe. Well, I believe it. I believe it. And there's science behind it now.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yes.
So that's an interesting study. Cherry blossoms and mice. So there's energy healing. Is this Reiki? Is this chakra system stuff?
I mean,
like
all of it. There's
we
so
have these
many
vortexes in our body, and we just need to get them aligned.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about Dr. Klinghardt, right?
Yes, the 5 levels of healing.
Yes. So those 5 levels of healing, that's based on energy.
Yes.
And he even has a whole layer on our ancestors. So he was talking about this before they even did any of these studies.
Good memory. Yes. Dr. Klinghardt.
Yeah. And yoga, meditation and yoga and sound healing, all of these things.
Kundalini yoga.
Kundalini
You're
yoga.
partial
Of course,
to Kundalini
yes,
yoga?
Just a little bit.
But that's breathe. That's like breath work, right?
A lot of it is breath work.
Sound energy. But so what exactly is sound energy?
It's creating a vibration of resonance so that we can elevate our vibration. So the law of attraction, and most of us know about the law of attraction, that means like attracts like. So if we're in a high vibration, we're going to attract high vibrational people and places and opportunities. If we're in a low vibration, the lowest of all vibrations, this is also a scientist who discovered this. He discovered the lowest of all vibrations based on whatever it was he did, is shame. So shame is actually shame is part of fear because again, there's love or fear, but shame actually falls a little bit lower than fear.
Shame is the lowest?
Shame is the lowest. So shame is lower than, because shame says there's something wrong with me. Whereas when we're afraid, we can be a victim. Shame means this is all my fault. I am bad. Something is absolutely wrong with my body, my mind, my intentions. I am not a good person. So there's nothing worse vibrationally than shame. There's a book called Power versus Force, and he talks all about this in the book. But fear is more, okay, at least I can be a victim.
Right.
Which this is deep stuff. I mean, this is very, very deep stuff. But I mean,
No,
nobody
it's deep, but
really wants to be a victim. But there is a part of us that wants to bypass that feeling of it's my fault and wants to be able to say, well, it's because of X, Y, and Z that I do these things, as opposed to I have some serious work to do. I am so sorry. And that feeling is like, oh, there's something wrong with me that I did this. Shame is much different than guilt, because guilt is, oh, I messed up. I shouldn't have done that. Shame is, I keep messing up. I keep doing the same thing. Something's really wrong.
Okay, so something's wrong with me. Something's wrong.
Something's wrong with me.
Right.
Yes.
That's interesting. Fear and shame. So shame is the lowest. So
And so sound healing can help with that, because the resonance of the sound can help to heal those layers that live in the field outside of our body, because we are not just this physical body. And Dr. Klinghardt,
Yes.
he studied with someone from India. That's how he learned all of this, which is obviously where yoga's from. So
Right.
This is something I've been studying this since I was 18, because I went to college up in Ithaca, New York. So when I was in college, it was like, ooh, fun. I started getting into all this weird stuff. And back then, my family's like, oh, gosh, this is so strange. And then I started Kundalini yoga when I was in my 20s.
yeah, how did you get into this? Was your family like this?
No. In fact, I was living in Manhattan, and I was an actress, and I had been doing yoga since I was in college. 18 I started, and I lived in New York in my 20s. And so I got a New York Sports Club schedule, and I would just take the subway to all the yoga classes, because they weren't really yoga studios then either.
Yeah,
but they
it's
did
true.
have yoga at the New York Sports Club. So I would get on the subway, and so this one's Jiva Mukti, this one's Ashtanga, this one's, whatever. So
Yeah,
next one is Kundalini. Okay, I'm going to go to Kundalini. And we go in this little basement in a New York Sports Club on the
I used to
Upper
be a
West
member of
Side.
New York Sports Club.
You are
Not
too?
that one, but yeah, that's right.
Well, it was fun that I could go to all of them and check them all out. I mean, it was like I used to just Monday I'll go downtown, you just get in the subway. But this particular one, there were 3 of us in a little basement.
Only 3.
3, and sometimes 2. And we did this whole chanting thing, and it was so weird. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, if my family sees me right now, they're going to be like, now she really went over the top. So
funny.
that's when I got into it. And at
Yeah.
that point, yoga wasn't even big, but Kundalini yoga was like, what is that? Now it's a yoga that celebrities are doing. It's like become hot and trendy, and even
Yeah.
my brother does it now. And even I get my
Oh.
husband. My husband's a lawyer in New York City. Even
Does-
my husband will be like, hud. Even I get him to do it.
He's doing it.
He's doing it. Yeah.
You know why they're doing it?
I don't know.
Because it works.
Yes.
Because it
It
works.
does. Well, thank you. It does.
Well, so
does.
there's certain things that if they work, they will last, and
Yes.
people will do them. If something doesn't work, it's gonna die off
Yeah.
because it doesn't work.
Right.
So there's value to it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Very true.
Kundalini yoga, sound energy.
Mm-hmm.
So the levels. So I did a little research. So there's stages of healing. Do you know the stages of healing? Or you have your angels, right? I saw on your you have your angels. Let's say
yeah.
let's not do that. So tell me about the angels.
Okay.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
get into the angels.
All right.
That's
I mean, this is going to be very.
Where's my
woo.
notes? Where's
this
my
is
notes,
not
hon?
going to be scientific enough, but
No,
that's okay.
But here's what's this is. Yes, all right, go.
Okay.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Well, I was a very different child, and my parents both moved to America. From
You're a very
Europe.
different adult.
I know.
What do you mean?
I'm actually more normal as an adult now than I was as a child.
Are you serious?
Yes. I mean, I was that kid in first
I was
grade.
about to say shame on you, but I don't want you to
No.
feel the lowest level of fear. So
Well,
I
that's-
apologize.
But think
Give
about.
me say some positive affirmations.
Okay.
I am beautiful.
I am
lovely.
love. I am light.
You're not different. You're great.
I'm great.
This is just a joke.
Okay, I know.
I'm
I
not
know.
trying
I'm
to-
having fun. I'm
Yeah,
having fun.
good, good.
I know. I know it. I know it.
Okay.
But it is true. My mom was British, and she used to go, "Shame on you," or she used to say, "Your manners are atrocious," and I'd be like, "Oh." So now,
Oh, really?
I'm like, "Your manners are atrocious." Oh boy, I better sit up straight. I better, But anyway, so as a child, I was the child in first grade that was extremely intuitive, but I didn't know it was intuitive. I didn't know that everyone didn't see what I would see, and I used to have these conversations with these angels. I used to see way beyond the earth realm. And my family thought that I was making it up. My teachers thought I was nuts.
Actual angels?
Yes. Yes.
Now it's getting interesting.
But
I love it.
anyway, that's a whole other podcast.
No, I think
But-
we got to go with this right now.
Well, why don't I tell you that when I turned 11, I decided that I wanted to be normal, so I didn't allow myself to have that connection with them anymore. And I got very sick. And when I was 12, my appendix ruptured, and I had a near-death experience.
Okay.
And in that moment, I will explain to you that the angels I saw were the most beautiful, huge, white beings. And the only way I can explain their smile and their love is that, because I've tried really hard to explain this to
How many
people.
were there?
Oh, just almost like they all faded into each other. Almost like if you look into the clouds and you see just a cloud just dispersing. It was almost like that. But they all had these faces.
Wow.
They would all go, it was almost translucent. Anyway, the smile and the love in that moment that these angels had for me was like a mother's love for her child without the mother having any fear. So I'm a mother myself, you're a father, parents, we know obviously the greatest love in the world is for our children. There's nothing like it.
Right.
But we also know that with that love, we're constantly afraid of what if something happens to them? Or what about if that little spot on her face is that, there's fear. There's always fear. And
Yeah.
angels' love is a knowing that you are fine and everything is perfect and you are just so incredibly perfect and loved just the way you are. So I had that experience at 12, and then I came back and I had to kind of get through my high school years knowing that I knew this other existence, but I really wanted to be normal. So I really got normal, even though I knew this and I didn't talk about it much.
Gotcha.
So as an adult, I definitely still, I mean, I want them more often than they come now, but I definitely have those moments where I still have that ability to see them, or sometimes I help other people find their own guardian angels. But I came up with an acronym.
That's beautiful. That's nice. No, that's nice. It's. I mean,
It's hope. It's hope for a better way in the world. You know, I think we all need hope. But to me, it's more than hope. To me, it's what's real, honestly.
Yeah.
But I came up with an acronym one day when I was really communicating with them, and I said, how can I tell people how you operate? And so the word is angels.
How so you're talking to the angels?
How can I tell people in a way that they'll understand how everything is possible, how there's nothing impossible, how the power of our prayers and our intentions are.
Do they want you to spread that message?
Yes.
Is the purpose that they came down and for you to give this hope and to spread that message? Is that part of?
I think I was born to share and show love to the world, and these days it's really hard. It's very hard to be a person who came to this planet right now to bring love and healing, because you end up being a truth teller too. And you end up doing things that are not just for yourself. You're doing things for humanity, and you get a lot of backlash. So I'm not going to say it's easy.
Yeah, no, I believe it. I believe how difficult it may be. I mean, I don't have that ability. And I think that's a pretty incredible gift, a pretty incredible ability. Here's what I guess I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to obviously, research, and I looked on your website, and I thought about it. Whether you believe it or you don't believe it, I don't know why people would actually give you backlash. Like, I mean, let's say you don't believe in angels. Okay, live and let live. I mean, there's no reason. I mean, this is where you get into the fear and to the anger and the let it go. If it's not your thing, it's all good. But if Karina Virginia wants to tell you about her experience with angels and she wants to help people, those who want to be helped and who want the information, okay, they'll receive the information. Those who don't want it, you don't have to take it, but you don't have to bash you over the head with it.
Yes.
Isn't that the whole idea? Like, we don't need to make you feel bad about it.
Well, so the thing is, in this day and age, what's happening with the angels is that people who are really here to help heal are also disrupting patterns that people want to keep the way they are, because we're in this time of evolution. So old structures are starting to not be as sustainable as they used to be. So a new way, which is based on love, can appear. And this might sound really out there.
I got to be honest, you got to repeat that.
Okay.
That went over my head.
Okay. Old ways of living, which were based on competition, on being number one, on constantly comparing, on being, on bringing other people down, on thinking that, because I am someone, I can have whatever I want, and all these, different ways of discrimination, et cetera. They aren't working the way they used to. It's, some of these things have always been bad, quote unquote, but then again, nothing is right or wrong. Thinking is what makes it right or wrong, right? So,
right.
But there's a new energy coming into this earth realm, which is creating a change. And if we are the people who are bringing the change in, because we're feeling very called to do that, there are people who don't want the change and the people who don't want to hear anything that we have to say.
Okay.
And so it's triggering them, and they find it threatening, and will say, you're weird, you're crazy, I've had all that stuff happen. Plus, whenever you're a public figure and you put yourself out there, you trigger people. So I've had a lot of backlash.
Screw them.
Well, you know what? I'm learning to do that. But when you're sensitive in the beginning, when it first started happening, it was like, I really I had to, but it didn't happen to me. It happened for me because I'm so much stronger now.
So you're taking that. So the whole idea is, I guess, to take failure, mistakes, and to learn from them, accept them,
Yes.
and grow from them.
Yes. Yes.
Because stuff's gonna happen.
Yes.
I mean, all
But
the
how
time.
are we going to look at it? And how are we going to,
I mean, look at it like, okay, that just happened. I made a mistake. I fell flat on my face, maybe literally or figuratively, and deal with it.
And
Accept
the only
it.
way through is through. Move through it.
Move through it.
Don't repress it. And move through it. We're tempted to just go out there and numb ourselves any way we can. And then we are just delaying the work. And we all do that. I mean, all of us. We all have our ways of numbing. That's just, I'm no different than everybody,
Yeah.
because we're human. And being human means that we're going to have coping mechanisms.
I wonder why it became so-called weird, like emotional healing. Like, it's interesting to me why, like, some people are like, that's wacky, and sound energy, and this stuff that's actually real information.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder how that became hokey. I guess it's threatening to people. I guess that's the whole idea. I don't know what would be threatening, because when you are thinking about something, your body will respond
Yes.
to what you're thinking about. I mean, you
Yes.
literally, because I've done it myself, I have a hard time letting things go sometimes, because I will get a little testy.
Mm-hmm.
And I can kind of go on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
And as I go on and on, my body gets sick. I mean, I don't go into convulsions or anything, but like, you could even see like my eyes. My eye start to look worn out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's from what I'm thinking and how I'm reacting.
Mm-hmm.
My body is following suit.
And that's what happens.
Yeah,
It's all, body-mind connection is huge.
it is huge.
And sometimes we get a virus or a cold because we literally need that time to reflect on our lives. So sometimes the physical body acts out in a way to protect us so that we can do some inner work. But, there's a lot of stuff that goes, I will say that I know people who've been very sick and who've said that their illness was the greatest gift in their lives. And that's hard to believe, and I also know people who are sick right now, and it's awful. I'm not saying it's,
Right.
I'm not saying that it makes it any easier, but it's a way you look at it. How can we look at the cup as half full instead of half empty? How can we change the way that we're going to respond to this? And if we have some sort of faith in a higher force, this is my own feeling, is that if we have some sort of faith in a higher force, in a higher realm, whatever it may be, angels, God, Jesus, Buddha, whoever, the universe, trees, flowers, something.
Cherry blossoms.
Cherry blossoms.
just throwing it out there.
But just some Christian, some kind of faith, right? He's
What?
like, I think Christian's got something else going on there. He's like,
totally.
he tuned out like 20 minutes ago.
No.
It tuned out 35 minutes ago.
It's Mercury retrograde.
Yeah.
But
As-
some kind of faith, right? Then we have something that can help us to sustain the hardship.
I'm just laughing because I'm paying attention. I'm just thinking like he's like,
Oh, totally! Like all of a sudden, we're gonna hear this story.
You want to know why I went silent? It's because like that type of stuff like wasn't big on in my life growing up. So when I hear you talking about that stuff, it's like, oh, like they're like somehow deep rooted some people's beliefs are and what they've experienced are. Like I am listening. I'm just processing it because I've dealt with it a certain way my whole life. So when I hear different perspectives, it's like, huh?
Yeah.
So if I'm making weird faces, it's literally because I'm like, like just going.
I'm gonna give you a plug. I'm gonna give her a plug here. Don't snooze. She's on Oprah Winfrey's belief team. Just some serious business in this room here. Serious business.
Well, Oprah is one of the most real, and
Yeah.
authentic believers in the angelic realm and the divine.
Is she? Yeah.
Oh,
obviously.
absolutely. And she's the real deal. I mean,
Yeah.
some people do this kind of stuff for marketing. I mean, let's be real, right?
Yeah.
Because hey, you know what? Let me tell you what I can do. And if you're really believing, or if you're really knowing how the universe operates, you don't do anything unless you know you are serving the highest good of all, because there are constantly eyes on you from other realms. That's what I believe. I mean, I truly believe that if we don't walk our talk, then and I'm not saying we're going to be punished for it or anything, we're not going to feel good about ourselves.
Right.
So manipulating situations or playing into games, and those things don't work anymore. If you want something in life, I've seen this happen to so many people. If we want something in life, really, really, really want it, the best way to get it is to give it to someone else. Because the sky opens and it shows up on your doorstep.
If you want something really bad, give it to someone else?
Yep.
Give me an example. That's interesting.
I mean, life is really about helping other people. If you want, I don't know, tell me something that you would really want in life. Just give me an example of something that would be like, hey, that'd be so great to have.
Right now?
Yeah.
The real answer?
Yeah.
Is to spread the message. I want to inspire people to be healthier and happier.
See, that's so beautiful.
I feel like that is why I am here.
Okay. So
That's what I want. So physically, like, do I want, like, when I was younger, sure, I wanted like a Magic Johnson jersey, or
yeah.
I actually wanted something material. There's really nothing I want.
Okay.
That's what I want.
But do you know why you want that?
Do I know why I want that? Well, it feels good to help people.
But do you know why it feels good?
Do I know why it feels good?
All right, why don't I just tell you what my belief
Can
is?
I
Okay?
call Oprah and ask her? I'm not really sure. Can I? Do I have a lifeline here? I can.
This is very, very simple. We are all born with a blueprint in our DNA for our destiny. And many of us are born to bring light and love to this planet. And you are definitely much more mainstream about it, than I am. I mean, right now, I'm like, some people are going, what is she talking about? But you want that because it's your calling in life. Every desire that we have that's of the heart, that is to make the world a better place, is because you could say angels, you could say your cells, you could say your DNA, is you came into this world to live this way. So if you don't do it, you're not going to feel whole, because it's what you're supposed to be doing.
Yes,
Now, if you,
I agree with that.
No, sometimes it's like if someone says, I really want, $1 million. Like, that's what I really, really want. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if that's what you really want,
I want that too. Forgot to tell you.
Right,
Yeah,
of
sure.
course. But the best way to have that is to start giving money to people. It comes back. It comes back in multiple.
You know I'm Jewish, right?
No, but
I can't give my. I flip nickels like manhole covers. I can't give anyone anything. You have no idea the anxiety that just came over me by talking about giving money.
But that's because of a belief system. But that's a belief system that.
Am I going to blame my grandmother and my grandfather?
Yes, maybe. I mean, these things are just. This is about
There's generations of manhole covers. It's not my fault. It's all my dad's fault, and his dad. Always penny pinching.
Oh, so
damn
funny.
it! So it's the
So
imprint.
that's why
It's the imprint, right?
It's an
just-
imprint.
there you go. It's epigenetics.
But it's the
Mice
things,
and cherry blossoms, John Levine, manhole covers, nickels. Just
But the hardest things are the ones that come from the mind that thinks that our world is full of lack. The hardest things to do. So, like, for example, I had this one client who wanted a baby so badly, and she wasn't getting pregnant. And that's a whole story in itself. But she stopped going to her friends' baby showers. She stopped celebrating her friends. And basically, the hardest thing in the world for her to do was to start celebrating that her friends were having babies and showing up and going to baby showers and buying the gift. And it was the hardest thing for her to do because it triggered her so much. But she changed her mindset around it and started to really believe that if she showed up and started giving the love around it, that she was creating the mindset of abundance instead of the mindset of lack. As hard as it was,
Yeah.
within a few months she was pregnant. And I've seen these things happen
Yeah.
with clients so many times with many different things in life.
Did you help her change that mindset? Did she go to you and say, "Help me," or she just kind of learned that?
It's because I was her coach at the time, but
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of other things. I recommended books. I recommended other things that she could do to help her. I gave her meditations to do. I don't think it was me, but I do think that it was the idea.
Well, a guide,
of,
right? So it's
Yeah.
always someone else. They figure it out on
that
their
plants
own.
the seed.
Right. It's
Yes.
You're the guide.
Yes,
I mean, everyone needs help,
exactly.
right? So
Yes.
we help and we kind
Like
of.
you with health food. If someone's eating McDonald's, you're going to help them to get to stop eating McDonald's every day.
They're going to do the work.
Yes.
I'm the guide.
Exactly.
The guide on the side.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're nudging someone in the right direction because
Yes.
you're giving them the positive support.
Yes.
Yeah, it works. You just inherently everyone figures it out on their own, but you need a positive support system, right,
Yes,
to kind
yes.
of get you in the right direction. So that was great. Thank you very much. We'll wrap it up, but I'm going to tell you with the recap. So, emotional healing, angels. I gotta feel like I gotta get you back to talk more about that. I mean, this is very
the
interesting
angels
stuff.
is a whole.
That's a whole nother
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
Sound energy. And I think the biggest takeaway here is it really comes back to fear and love. And if you
everything.
is the solution is love. Whitney will tell you, Oprah will tell you, Karina, Virginia will tell you, I'll tell you.
And it's not always easy. It takes work to get to that place of
It
choosing
does.
love, but it makes our lives much, much easier if we can find a way to say, I choose love instead of this. Because when we're in that place of feeling like, anger and jealousy and frustration and all those feelings, how can I choose? And there's different ways of getting there, but how can I choose to be in the frequency of love instead of all of that?
That's a mission that I'm on. That's a good mission. I got to tap into more of your expertise. So with that is a wrap. Until next time,
Bye, everybody.
cherry blossoms, angels, mice. We love you. Adios, amigos.